Well, Sergio is here and has agreed to be part of the first tasting table of the season. We have two different varieties that look somewhat similar when this one doesn't have quite as much of a blush, but the skin is very similar, the shape of the fruit is very similar, and so we thought we'd taste it and see what we could see. The one on the white plate here is Dupuis Saigon, and then this one that is on the other plate is Monty. And Sergio, I know, has been helping for a while. He's been at the gate selling mangoes, and so he's seen both of these come through, but I don't know if you've done a side-by-side taste comparison with them yet.
Not side-by-side. I've tasted them each individually, but not side-by-side. I just recently tried Monty, I think last week.
So what were your first impressions of the fruit, the different variety of Monty?
Yeah. Monty's good. It reminded me of classic, but I think I might have had it a little too overripe. But I picked up on citrus notes, at least for me, so I really liked it.
And what do you remember about Dupuis Saigon?
Oh, I used to grow it before I lost the graft. Does pretty well.
Out in the western part of the county, you live in Loxahatchee area, and so different varieties. There are some varieties that do well out there and some that don't, and so this is one that does, right?
It did. It was on that tree that I showed you. That was the seedling that had the Kesar and the Sunrise on it, the multi-graft, and the graft eventually died. But back to the flavor, it was amazing. It's crisp. It had like a lemony citrus refreshing taste that I remember, at least from the times I've had it. Really good.
Okay, so let's see how they compare side by side. Try to figure out which is at a good level of ripeness. I think maybe that one is, and maybe this one. Yeah, we'll go with this one. Okay.
They're both fiberless. Thank you. Yeah, see? Completely fiberless. One thing I've noticed about the Dupuis, when I say crisp, I've noticed that between this and the Pim Sing Moon, they have a crispness where the mango's not overly juicy, where it's not dripping with the juice. But it's really good.
I mean, it's glistening with the juice. So it's definitely juicy, but it just is not dripping, is correct, basically.
Yeah.
It's such a nice fruit.
It is. That's actually better than what I remember. I can't tell what it is, but it's like right by the skin. It's that citrus component that I really like. It's delicious. I mean, I can't pick up on the subtleties other than the citrus notes.
Yeah, it's a rich flavor. It's not just, some citrus is just, like that, subacid, hit kind of thing, but this has got some depth to the taste too. I think it's, like I can see the citrus component, but it's a rich flavor too.
Absolutely. It's almost reminded me of a dot. It was that rich. The intensity.
So, go over. Which one was it that I was? Oh, this one I was going to do. This one has a little bit of a blush, and feels like it's getting to ripeness. I'm not sure if it's at its peak ripeness or not, but it does have the juice coming out all over the place.
Yeah. crazy. They're a little similar by the skin. Not the same, but there's just something in there. That's really good. I can't pick up what it is. They're both delicious.
Yeah, I mean, it has a lot going on too, but I pick up more citrus flavor from the Dupuis, I think, than this one. I mean, it still has that, that citrus kind of acid thing, but this has more of like an orange flavor to it, I think.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, yeah, it's both are very good, though.
They are.
The funny thing is that, like I said, sometimes the fruit gets mixed up if it doesn't come in marked or whatever. And so this group, side by side, it's easy to tell the difference between them, but sometimes it's not. Another thing about Monty versus Dupuis is that Dupuis is a much bigger tree than Monty, is more compact. Both have a fair amount of fruit this year, but Dupuis doesn't always, but Monty just seems to make a lot of fruit all the time. So yeah, that's sort of the only things that I can think of that to compare and contrast with the fruit. So let's try to wrap up these flavors, compare and contrast. The Dupuis, that, of course, it's juicy, fiberless, and you were saying that it has a citrus kind of component to it?
It does, and it was a little bit more intense, at least for the citrus component coming through on the Dupuis. On Monty, it was more different flavors coming through, a little peach, a little stone fruit maybe. I'm still trying to pick up on what it was.
Yeah, I know. You get a real fruity kind of flavor from it, and you're like, okay, what fruit does that remind you of? And peach comes to mind, but then there's other things too, and so it's really hard to describe a mango by other fruit. It's not like you taste a mango and instantly say, oh, that's just like eating a strawberry. No. So, but there are little components of flavors, and some people are just really able to match that up with the fruit. But yeah, I think citrus and a little bit, especially orange with the Dupuis. But then with the Monty, you've got, as you said, stone fruit like peach or that kind of thing
mixed in with the citrus.
Yeah, and of course mango. Well, thank you, Sergio. Appreciate your, putting up with the tough task of tasting the fruit.
Anytime. They're delicious.
Okay.